How is everybody? Hey, what a party. Congratulations, everyone. Great to be here today. My name's Frank Alexander, and I'm the Executive Director of the Housing Authority and the Department Director of Boulder County Department of Housing and Human Services. It's still hard to hear in the back, I'm seeing. So that means more people should come in here. Why don't you bring in some seats? Come on in, everyone. Well, it is an honor to be here for me, and I'm sure it's an honor for many folks to come to this day. It has taken us a minute to get here, and we're certainly feeling very incredible about the contribution to the community that is being made here. And what's beautiful about today is today really marks the day where the project becomes the community's, and we turn it over to the city of Lafayette and to the residents here, and it begins to fill with life in a whole new way. And it's such a great moment. I think it's our favorite moment as staff is when the project actually leaves our hands and kind of begins to soar and fly on its own. And it's fabulous to be here and to see that happening. And what a difference the last year has made. We were here less than a year ago. Those of you that were here for the groundbreaking when the foundations were just getting poured. And here we're at 100% leased of this project, like less than a year later. Which happened 5 days after we got the Certificate of Occupancy. And 80% of the folks are already moved into the building. So, which is amazing. Welcome, everybody, right? We did it. And before I say a few words about the project, I want to start by thanking everybody. And it's going to be hard for me to stay within the 5 minutes that I have for my opening comments, especially if I tried to thank everybody. So I'm going to do my best, but know that there are many hundreds of people that have touched this project, and you know who you are, and I'm going to mention some agencies by name, but there's lots of great people that are in this room behind each of those names. The first thanks, and this is really the most important, is to the Board of County Commissioners, and let's just give them a round of applause. All three of our county commissioners are here, Deb Gardner and Cindy Domenico and Will Tour, and they have guided this project, this board and past boards to fruition. And I think we as a community owe a huge debt of gratitude to them for their leadership, not just in human services, but in everything that is affecting our community. So I want to thank them personally for their great leadership and guidance to me and our department in this work. And I think we owe a deep gratitude to Commissioner Tour, who is finishing his last year of his second term, and it's been an honor to work for him for 8 years, and I think we're going to really miss him. He's had a huge regional impact on many, many issues that I want to thank Will for, so thank you. And next, we want to thank the City Council of Lafayette and the city staff. They have been amazing partners to us through this process, and there's many counselors here. The mayor is going to speak in a second, but they have been great leaders for this project and helping guide it through some tumultuous waters in the early days to this great thing that we're seeing before us. And I want to also thank city staff, in particular City Manager Gary Klepacki and Philip Patterson and the planning staff for how much they've worked with us, and the Lafayette Senior Services staff and Kurt Cheeseman, who have really helped us think through so many components of this project. So let's give them a big round of applause. And we really want to thank the neighborhood and the residents here in the city. So the neighbors have joined us early on in the advisory committee as we were planning this project, and they've had to put up with construction for the last year, and they've really been thoughtful in a lot of their efforts with us. In particular, I want to thank Linda Radcliffe and Rick Bolliard and Dean Carpenter, who really worked with us a lot. They live here on the southern end of the property, and we had to build a new road right through what used to be sort of a deserted, abandoned railroad line, and we want to thank them. And we also want to thank our community partners like Sister Carmen Community Center, Coal Creek Meals on Wheels, which used to be called East Boulder County Meals on Wheels, Flatirons Community Church, who've really supported this process tremendously. On the staff side, there are probably 100 staff in our department who touched this project, and they all deserve great recognition. In particular, though, we want to call out a few people. Willa Williford, who's the Housing Division Director, Nori Boyd, who's the project developer, and Jim Wilson, who's been the construction project coordinator. Also on the maintenance side, Don Roybal, Paul Clagg, Karen Finch, Dave Hogan, in particular we want to thank. And on the property management side, Sally Vihill, Edna Guillen, and Amy Brune, who've all helped with this project. And from the attorney's office, Jeremy Durham and Ben Doyle have given us a huge amount of support as we've moved forward. Financing. Biggest part of this kind of a project is how expensive they are and how hard it is to build affordable housing. And everybody who's doing that in this room knows what it takes to finance an affordable housing project. Oh, somebody's calling me. More things to do. S.B. Clark is here, who has been our consultant on the financing team. We also really want to thank Chaffa, who has provided us the tax credits. Redstone Equity Partners and J.P. Morgan have been the investors, both on the low-income housing tax credit equity side and the energy tax credit equity side. The Boulder County, Broomfield County Regional Home Consortium provided pre-development funds up front. Colorado Division of Housing, whose staff are also here, provided us funds, CDBG funds, to support the project. And on the design side, we want to thank Millender White, the contractors. And Citigroup. Sorry, I got that down here. City Community Capital, who's given us the permanent loan and the construction financing. That's Brian Dale, so thanks, Brian, for being here. So let's give the money people a big hand. On the design and construction side, we feel so fortunate to have worked with the team that we've had on this project. From the early days, we had NES on the planning side, and we had HB&A on the architecture side. And both of the lead staff from their agencies are here, so I hope you get to talk to them. The contractor, Millender White, has done an amazing job of building this project. And not only have they constructed it, but they've also done some community support efforts here. So they've had about 70 students from CSU and Front Range that have came and done in the field construction experience tasks right here on site. They've also supported and managed the Youth Corps, which did infrastructure work here on the gardens and some of the landscape and irrigation efforts. So we want to thank Millender White tremendously for their efforts on the project. We also have a bunch of engineers, Farnsworth, MGA Structural, CTL, Thompson, and our outside counsel, Holland and Hart, who've given us a lot of support legally to make this project happen. So let's give everybody a huge round of applause. Okay, last few words, and then I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Domenico. I just want to talk a couple things about the project. So you are standing in a 78,000 square foot building. It has 44 one-bedroom units, and those units range in size from 630 square feet to about 665 square feet. There are also 26 two-bedroom units that are 789 square feet to 851 square feet. And we also have the two duplexes across the parking lot, and those are about 906 square feet. So these 74 units make up our tax credit investor partnership, and they range in area median income eligible from 30% to 60%. So you see units that are renting in this building for a low of about $500 a month with all the utilities included in the rent, to a maximum of the duplex side, which is about $1,200 a month with all the utilities included, and numbers of rents in between. So the residents who live here have an average income of somewhere approximately of about $18,000 a year, to they can have almost up to 50,000 for the higher end units. And in everything that we do as an agency, we try to think about the triple bottom line. So we're trying to have an economic impact, we're trying to have a social impact, and we're trying to have a positive net environmental impact. And those things are really critical for us as an agency, but also as a community. You know, we're facing some very significant challenges moving ahead, and we have to come up with really creative solutions to our societal problems. This particular building is designed to achieve a level of energy efficiency that is really unprecedented in our work, and is a cutting-edge effort across the country. So what you'll see in this building as you get toured around is we have about 110 kilowatts of solar between the duplexes and the building itself. There's almost 100 on this building, and there's about 12 on the two duplexes. We also developed a geothermal exchange system. And to make that happen, 50 400-foot wells were drilled on this property to deliver the geothermal energy up and into the building. And then it's circulated through a complex system that's been engineered here to maintain the heating and cooling necessary throughout both the extremes that we see in Colorado. So geothermal allows us to tap that baseline 55-degree temperature inside the earth, and then cool and heat from that level, as opposed to starting from a zero or starting from 100 plus degrees. Those are really kind of the major environmental positives I wanted to mention. And the other thing I kind of wanted to put into perspective is we're here obviously today to really celebrate as a community what's possible when we come together. And when I think back on when we began this project, it was early 2007, and just to kind of think through how much the world has changed, the unemployment rate in Boulder County at that time was 2.8%. We had less than 19,000 people accessing the Medicaid program, and we had less than 6,000 people on the food assistance program. And over the last 5 years, we've experienced a level of economic downturn that has really been unprecedented, and it's taxed the safety net systems across our communities and really forces us to think through things differently. And I think we're all very blessed to live in Boulder County. I think we're blessed to work here as Boulder County employees and as city employees and as nonprofit community partners. And I would encourage us to take a pause from today and think through what's happened. So when we look at today's unemployment rate, it's nearly at 7%. So we now have almost 11,000 people unemployed in Boulder County. And our Medicaid rolls are now 33,000 people as opposed to 19,000 people. And we have about 17,000 folks on the food assistance program. We also have nearly 1,700 kids in the two school districts that are homeless. And these are daunting statistics, but our community, I think singularly more than any community in Colorado, has found a way to come together and find solutions to those difficult problems. And those of you in the room that are doing that work on a daily basis, and those of you in the room who can assist us in that work even more than you have, I think today as a day of celebration, what I'm hoping that we all take away from today is, that we're going to go away happy, and we're going to go away thoughtful, and we're going to go away connected. And we're also going to, every one of us, redouble our efforts with a sense of urgency to really support and build the kind of community that we want in Boulder County. And we're going to understand what's at stake for the families that we serve. And we're going to put aside differences, and we're going to focus on solutions. And I think if we do that, things like this will be possible. So I want to thank everybody for being here. And I'm going to introduce Commissioner Domenico.
Well, thanks, Frank. And my name is Cindy Domenico. I'm one of the 3 county commissioners, and I'm happy to be here with my colleagues, Will Tour and Deb Gardner. And, we heard Frank make his statement up here, talk about vision. I think Frank's vision has carried us in a tremendous way in making this a reality today. And I want to talk a little bit about how we arrived here and sort of the Lafayette component of it, because I'm a Lafayette resident. And I'm proud to be a part of this community all my life, and my family's been here since forever. And so I probably know your kids or your grandkids, having gone to school with a lot of them, and it's great to see friendly faces and familiar faces here today. And I'm so happy that this facility, this beautiful place that we're in today, is here. It's definitely a gem in the community and will be for a long, long time. You know, we're sitting on a site that belonged to Rocky Mountain Fuel Company back in the days. It's a 14-acre site that belonged to that fuel company, which at the time was owned by Josephine Aspinall Roche. I don't know if anybody remembers her name from the history books of the town of Lafayette, but she was a really incredible person. And I don't know that when she owned this property she would ever have imagined this happening here. Probably not, because she was really interested in coal mines. And that's what happened in this vicinity, as those of you who live here know. And what was different about Josephine Roche is that she took a really strong stand for workers' rights, which was an unusual kind of thing in that day. And it was an abrupt reversal of her father's anti-labor stand. And he was kind of a union-busting type of guy and worker exploitation sort of framework for the things that he did. She completely reversed that and made a stand for workers' rights, paid the highest wages to miners in the industry in that time frame in the 1930s. She ended child labor and invited the United Mine Workers of America back here to unionize her mines. She was a heroine for many people who worked in the industry, and clearly she fought for families here in Lafayette. So this particular place and this name has a resonance for us here in Lafayette. And it's exciting to see that her name carries on in the Josephine Commons development that we have here. This project was years in the making, and I think we purchased it, not we as a Board of County Commissioners, but prior boards of county commissioners back in 1999. And you can see what's happened since 1999. It was very quiet. Then a year ago, we broke ground, and now we're here in this beautiful building. And we're so excited that dream has become a reality, because there was a tremendous vision back in 99 to think that we could set aside land on the edge of the city, hoping that someday we could create a place where people could be and live comfortably, happily, safely, and environmentally well, that brought the community together and then, gave us a chance to serve people who could use some help. So it's a tremendous day. It's a great day for celebration. I'm so happy to have a chance to be a part of it. It's certainly a legacy for all of us who've been involved in it and for the people who came before. And when I look around the room and see folks here who are going to be able to enjoy this beautiful place, I'm hoping that we get invited out for lunches frequently to come and visit with you and to learn how it's going. And a huge thank you to Frank Alexander, our Director of our Housing and Human Services, to our Boulder County Housing Authority Senior Planner, Nori Boyd, our Housing Director, Willa Williford, and our Construction Project Superintendent, Jim Wilson. Couldn't happen without those folks. And it certainly couldn't have happened without the people from the community who jumped in and said, we really need this. Those of you who were at those city council meetings, raise your hands. I know you're out there, that you were part of the movement, the grassroots movement that said, yes, we need this in Lafayette. And obviously we did. We were leased, ready to go within a week of opening. We had our certificate of occupancy that quickly, and so we know we're in the right place at the right time. And congratulations to all of you who have the opportunity to be here and to stay here. We're so excited you're here, and congratulations to you and to Lafayette as a community. Thanks so much, and Frank, I'll turn it back to you.
So we just learned that Congressman Polis has to leave, so we'd like to have you come up and say a few words, and I just want to say a couple things. So Congressman Polis is our representative for the 2nd Congressional District. He was first elected in 2008. He serves on the Committee on Rules and the Committee on the Judiciary. He also serves on the House Democratic Steering Committee and Steering and Policy Committee, and as a Democratic Caucus Regional Whip, as well as co-chairman of the new Democratic Coalition Education Task Force. And Congressman Polis also was on the statewide school board prior to becoming a congressman and started up several businesses here in the local area. So thanks for being here, and please join us.
I thought I would bring my little friend up with me. I know when there's a lot of speeches, everybody gets tired of just looking at the people giving them. So I thought I would bring, and she is under 30 pounds and more than 2 years old, so she is permitted here, and she was very happy. She was very, very happy about that. Thank you, Frank. You know, this day is really about vision and collaboration, and this wonderful project. And I just had the opportunity to visit one of the apartments, and I've talked to some of you before this started. This couldn't have happened without the vision, and in part, that's your vision. Those who shared the need with City Council, the City Council, the commissioners, Frank, everybody coming together, saying this is what we need to do in Lafayette. And then, of course, that's the easy part, saying this is what we need to do. The hard part, doing it, collaborating, finding the funds, combining the funds. This is really an example of a public-private partnership at all levels of government and the private sector. $11.5 million from the low-income housing tax credit, and that's through investments from an equity partnership and J.P. Morgan, Citibank construction loan, the state Colorado Division of Housing, and I saw they have a representative here, $550,000. Boulder County Commissioners use some of their worthy cause funds that they receive, $400,000 of that. So all of this combining, federal, state, county, private, to build this and fulfill the vision and create these wonderful homes for our community. The project also brings together other kinds of assistance. One area that we worked on, there's 2 residents here that receive VA supportive housing or VASH vouchers. So that's through the Veterans Administration. And originally, the Veterans Administration said there's not enough veterans in Boulder County for Boulder County to qualify. And we had to appeal that and say, yes, there are veterans in Boulder County, and we had to show them the statistics. And sure enough, they changed their decision and issued those vouchers. And so 2 residents here are able to use those veterans vouchers. They served our country honorably, and of course here deserve this kind of wonderful home in their golden years. So we couldn't be more excited to see this example of a community partnership work. The vision that you articulated, that Frank put to paper, that the commissioners bought into, that the city council bought into, and then the very challenging work of collaborating and making it happen. And here we are today. So I just want to congratulate everybody who played a role, and those of you who are residents, wish you a wonderful future in your new home here in Lafayette. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman. Next up, we're fortunate to have Mayor Carolyn Cutler from the city of Lafayette, who's here. She's been the mayor since 2011 and has been on council since 2006, so she's seen the project from the council side since the beginning. She's also a former teacher from our school district, so thanks for being here.
I wanted to start by at least identifying who the council people who are here right now or who were here when this project started. If you're here, would you raise your hand? And Christine Berg, who was sitting here, is I know she is currently on city council. On behalf of the City of Lafayette and Lafayette City Council, I want to welcome everyone who's here to the grand opening and celebration of Josephine Commons. The city is extremely proud of what we have, what's come out of this project, and what you're seeing in front of you. Isn't it a great building? And for a number of you, for everybody, you've seen at least the main floor. You've heard a little bit about what went into making this a blue ribbon kind of building, and I would invite you and encourage you to stick around and take some of the tours so you can see some of the guts of what's here. You'll be even more impressed by what's going on. One of the things is, in addition to what is physically here, the bricks and mortar, having a facility like this allows the county, the city, support services to be made available. How do you use a microphone? Can everybody hear me? I feel like I'm cutting in and out. Okay. It's just from this end then. Besides the brick and mortar, this really allows us to, in a central location, offer and provide services to the groups of people and populations that this program is serving, which includes health, which includes financial guidance, which can include recreation programming, medical assistance and guidance, and all of that can take place right here, not just for the residents, but for people who come in. There are office spaces, meeting rooms, community areas. This is going to meet a lot of the needs of a community and keep people together. You've heard it at least twice. Within 5 days of the CO, this building was leased out and there was a waiting list. This speaks to the need for affordable housing throughout Boulder County. And we heard it from the people who came to advocate when the vision started in 2007 and before that, Boulder County Aging Services, working with a lot of the local senior service, the municipal senior service staffs, had done a lot of research, and absolutely affordable housing for independent seniors was a strong lacking throughout the county. And now we've got some. When the council approved this, the council that started this also said, we want to be sure that not that it's full of people from Lafayette, but that we're really addressing and looking for people in the community who have been here for a long time and make sure that they have the opportunity to stay here. And so the county made that one of not a criteria, but almost a point system. You got a little bit more credit, and if you applied and you were already here. So I want to tell you a little bit about who's going to be the first round of occupants. There will be 86 total residents once everyone has moved in to 74 units. There are 12 couples. There are 62 singles. You've already seen one guest pet. That is an indicator that this is a home, and so with some qualifications, pets are here. There are currently going to be 10 pets. 35 of the units are going to be occupied by people who already lived in Lafayette. 12 of the units are going to be occupied with residents who were not from Lafayette but have had family members in Lafayette, which is a huge, big deal when you live in a metro area, to ensure that families can stay close to each other, can spend holidays together and respond to crises and special events, and just be close to the people that they care about. And it allows us really to create, and it adds to what is already a pretty good community. As a longtime resident, as a mayor, not only was I a teacher, but I spent my almost 30 years of teaching right here in Lafayette. I know that we have a marvelous community, and we've just added another amenity thanks to the county, thanks to the people who've advocated to make sure that this happened, thanks to city staff, incredible thanks to city staff, and thanks to council for supporting it. We have another amenity that will provide opportunities and services for a group of people within our community, a demographic that we're only starting to identify as a target group for these kinds of special and amazing buildings. I want to offer some thank yous. I'm not going to mention names because I'm never very good at remembering them all, so I would forget some, but I want to recognize the staff from Boulder County, the policymakers from Boulder County who had a vision, who made sure that vision actually came into fruition. I want to thank everybody again from city staff, the architects and builders who came along later. I want to thank the surrounding neighborhood who came forward to make sure that their interests were made, and at least 8 plans later, we hope that we've put together a project. We know we've put together a good project. We believe we've put together a project that will, in the long run, that will benefit the neighbor and his neighborhoods, community, and is far better than the first project, the first plan as it came forward. I want to especially thank the senior advisory board at the time, some of whom actually live here today. They always knew that they would. I want to thank those people, both just members of the community and those people who were part of nonprofit organizations who came before council and stood up and collectively represented the voices of the people who are living here, even if you didn't know that you'd ever live in Lafayette. I think everybody, in essence, fought for a better plan. I think, in essence, we got a better project. This is only the beginning. I hope that everybody, whether you live here or not, stick around for the final couple of hours and you take the tours and you meet some of the residents. I do want to say, I'm going to take a side note that I didn't know I would say. As I was roaming around, I got to sit at tables with people who are residents, some of them new to the community, some of them not. Every single person I talked to said something, in a couple of cases, literally, I feel like I've died and gone to heaven. That everyone that I've spoken to says that they're extremely happy, that they've got an amazing facility, apartment, that they're meeting new people, that they love walking the neighborhood, that they've met people in the neighborhood, and the thing that I've heard probably most often is that there is an amazing, friendly, welcoming staff that has made their transition into their new homes a wonderful place. So on behalf of the city of Lafayette, along with Boulder County, I want to thank you for coming and welcome everyone to Josephine Commons.
Thank you, Mayor Cutler. Next up is Tasha Weaver. She is the manager of the Tax Credit Allocation Program for the Colorado Housing and Finance Administration. And projects like this would not be possible in Colorado without the leadership of CHAFA and the awarding of the federal tax credits that they do for us. So I really want to welcome Tasha and thank you for your support.
Good afternoon, everyone. Well, as Frank said, my name is Tasha Weaver, and I work with CHAFA, the Colorado Housing and Finance Authority, and we're the group that actually allocates the federal housing tax credits. I promise I won't bore you with how the tax credits work. It's a little boring. But this program is a federal program, and it has helped finance over 40,000 rental homes in the state of Colorado since 1986 when the program began, and over 2.5 million rental homes that are affordable nationwide. In fact, it is the most critical funding source available today in this country for affordable rental housing. And not only does it create quality affordable housing like this amazing project, but it also helps strengthen the economy in the surrounding communities, and it helps build jobs. And it is so competitive to apply for tax credits. When Frank and his team came to CHAFA from the Housing Authority to apply for the credits, he was facing a really stiff competition. Typically, and many of those of you in the audience know what that's like when you apply for credits. Typically, only one project will get awarded credit out of anywhere from 3 to 5, sometimes even 6 applicants. It's very competitive. But what impressed us about this project was, in addition to having it meet the requirements that we have for applications, the financial feasibility, the marketability, and all that kind of stuff, was that this project really was a result of the citizens of Lafayette speaking out and saying, we need some quality, affordable housing for seniors in our community. And at a time when a lot of us feel like the voices of ordinary citizens are not really heard, the citizens here were heard. In fact, we even heard you. Finally, after 3 applications, we heard you. And we are very, very proud to be a part of the creation of this wonderful project. Thank you.
Thank you, Tasha. And just to give a quick summary of how the tax credits work is CHAFA awards the tax credits to an entity like us, and then you have an equity investor. And so in our case, Redstone Equity Partners and JP Morgan were the tax credit investors, and that brought $11,500,000 of equity to the project. And then City Community Capital provided the construction loan and the permanent financing to the project. So basically what happens is the equity that comes from the investors allows us to buy down the debt which allows us to have the rents be as affordable as we described. And without these three folks, we couldn't make this happen. So let's give them all a big round of applause. Next up, I want to introduce Nikki Hatch. And Nikki is the Deputy Executive Director for the Colorado Department of Human Services. And she's been there since 2011. And the Department of Human Services is one of our key community partners. We work with them across the entire spectrum of services that our department does for the community and on behalf of the state. And CDHS is where the State Unit on Aging is housed, and where funds funnel through to the local community through the Older Americans Act, as well as our partners in Adult Protective Services and Child Protective Services and some homeless prevention activities and the myriad of programs like Medicaid and food assistance programs. So please welcome Nikki to the podium.
Thank you so much, Frank. What a day this is, am I right? It is such an honor to be here with so many wonderful people, the mayor, the congressman who is here, county commissioners, city council, funding partners, nonprofit partners and supporters, and most importantly, the residents who are here. I've had just a little time to visit with Marge over here, and just in our conversation, she was able to share with me how important this new home is to her. She's got a concern about the washing machine, Frank. So and apparently not just Marge. What I'd like to share with you is my sense of not only what this project is, which is, I mean, it's exquisite, right? Look around. This is gorgeous. This would be a jewel in any community anywhere in the country. But also what a solution this project represents to a really important need in the community. I'd also like to celebrate how this project came together. You've heard a long list of the individuals and organizations who came together to develop a common vision and really do the work of bringing this together. But also I'd like to acknowledge the human values that this project represents. Certainly compassion for fellow human beings who have significant needs, but also the values of self-sufficiency and dignity that this project reflects. And I think it's really worth dwelling on that for a minute. From the state perspective, it's really no surprise that a project this phenomenal comes out of Boulder County. We know that Boulder is a place of big ideas and very deep commitments with leadership and vision that's really unparalleled around the state. But it also is the integration of housing and human services that you have here in Boulder County, and not so commonly around the state, that we really see as the future of this kind of work. And I think that we're going to see visitors from around the country coming to take a look at what you've been able to accomplish here in Lafayette. Finally, I'd like to just acknowledge for a moment Frank Alexander. In Colorado, we are really blessed to have a number of leaders in the human services world in every corner of the state. But we really do have just a select group of what I think of as leaders among leaders, and Frank Alexander is certainly one of those. It is such a blessing to get to work so closely with him. He's the one we can count on always to answer the phone when at the state level we need a reality check on what's happening at the local level, or for his counsel on what we've done well or badly or what we need to do better. Frank comes to, I can't tell you how many committee meetings that we ask him to and never says no, and is just a willing partner to us. He shares his leadership, his vision, expertise, and passion, and I just want to share with all of you how deeply grateful we are for Frank's partnership. I'll close finally with just words of congratulations. This is a tremendous, tremendous accomplishment, and it's really an honor to be among you today. So thank you very much.
Nikki gets the first cookie. And Our last speaker is, not surprisingly, one of the residents from Josephine Commons, and we're honored to have Patricia Peterson come up and speak to the group. If she's
right here.
Right here, excellent. How are you? Good to see you.
I'm excellent. I remember when they came to the senior center and they had an idea, and they wanted to know, if we built this, would you come? Just put your name on the list. So list after list after list. I kept putting my name on the list. Then one day I got an application that said, send us $10. So I did. And then the next letter came, send us more, come to a meeting, do all this. Never in my wildest dream did I imagine that this would end up to be exactly this. You know, when we committed, we had never seen an apartment. I've never moved into a place that I've never seen until I had to move in. And it's way beyond my expectations. The sense of community, everything that's going on here is just such a great little place for us as seniors. It's kind of a little bit like staying in a hotel, you know, in the lobby. We're going to have coffees here on Monday morning. What kind of a thing is that? And I'm looking forward to lunch, especially if it starts in January and we don't have to go out in the cold and the snow. I do not want to take much time, and I will say this. The washer was definitely a challenge to my learning curve, but I think I'm figuring it out, although if some engineer could let me know how it takes 3 hours to do one load is energy efficient, I'd be glad to listen. So I'm just so happy to be here, and I just can't even imagine the luck that got me here, because when I moved from Minnesota 10 years ago, I've spent 9 years in Lafayette. I knew Boulder County was where I wanted to be, so you're famous all the way in Minnesota. And yet, I didn't have a real plan. I just knew where I wanted to go. And it's just turned out well. And I'm just so grateful. I feel like I won the lottery. So, thank you all.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ms. Peterson. About halfway through construction, we had one of our veteran staff, Chuck Slows, retire, and most of you know Chuck. He was a great guy to work with, and it was a tall order to post his job and figure out what are we going to do with Chuck leaving, and so we posted it, and beyond our wildest expectations, the person who's going to speak next applied and won the job and has been an incredible member of our team. And she came to us from Boulder Housing Partners, and I think Betsy has forgiven me. It's taken about 6 months. But Willa Williford is the Housing Division Director, and she's going to close it up for you. But I really want to thank her for being on our team and for the great work you're doing with us.
Thank you so much. So I will transition you to the eating, the talking, the dancing, the celebrating that comes next. We're almost there. So it's been such a privilege to join this team. As Frank said, I joined, and we were just at our 60% construction completion draw. And so all of the dreaming and the planning and the sweating and crying that went into getting this project to implementation had mostly already taken place. So I feel just so lucky to be here as we get to celebrate and really wrap this up. And it's also my honor to share what comes next, because we're looking ahead, and as you came in, you may have seen the land just to the west of us, and that will be Aspinwall, 72 units where we'll continue to serve elders and families and link closely with our human services and our community partners to bring more resources to this community, and we'll be working on that in the coming year. We also just recently entered an agreement with the city of Louisville to increase their affordable housing inventory, and we'll be embarking on that as well. So, as the county, we seek to partner with the towns and cities in Boulder County to address their affordable housing needs and really bring our affordable housing expertise to that in a way that works for the needs that are identified by those communities. So I'd like to please ask you to join me in one more round of applause for our wonderful residents, our amazing staff, our many elected officials, our community partners, and all of the professionals that contributed to making this happen. Thank you so much.